be a prosecutor and it is a defense lawyer. I really, because I don't have the words or the ability to persuade you to grant any consideration at all to Nichol. I've lived with this case in K since January of this year. I haven't been on it the whole time. She had other lawyers that I replaced. It's our responsibility to do everything we can to protect somebody that the state is going to say is the most horrible human being in the world. It is mine and Kay's responsibility to endure the wrath of people. How can people like him represent people like her? You hear it all the time, lawyers, defense lawyers especially. How can you represent guilty people? It's a whole lot easier to be a prosecutor. There's also a rule that you shouldn't be attached to your client either. I've pretty much lived with this family for 8 months now. And I'm assuming, like Andrew, gone a little over what emotionally should be done. It's supposed to just say, this is the fact, you do this. We're responsible for developing any defense we can give. The state wants you to hold it against her because she didn't want to believe what she had done. That's our responsibility. And we have done everything we could. So don't hold that against Nichol and her family. I don't know that any one of us would have done anything different than what her mom and dad did when they talked to her in jail. I don't know if any one of us has been through any experience like this. I haven't, and I pray. My granddaughter just got her driver's license, and they're down at the Frio now, and I'm like, I wish she was here. But I pray every night for her. But in this case, the state can show you all the pictures it wants, and you heard Nichol. There's some in there that you're going to look at that's why she'd want to testify. And she was willing to go through whatever consequence that was. Thankfully, she changed her mind, because I think she showed you that she does have a lot of compassion for David Porras, and Nichol Adams and Travis's families. And I can't remember the whole thing she testified to here, but I know it was genuine, and I know it was from her heart. I think y'all can probably assume that. Probably saw it yourself. because she had maintained from the start she wasn't going to do that. She wasn't going to testify. And I didn't prepare her. I didn't tell her what to say. I didn't try to even remotely mention anything. Everything she came to you with was from her heart, how she feels. And she is, I don't think devastated is the right word. She tried to commit suicide, or at least thought about it. She thinks she's a horrible person. And it's something nobody David Forrest to Nicole Adams to Travis, nobody should have to go through that. Nobody's lives should be taken. But they are. You can probably read the paper tomorrow about some exact same thing like this happening somewhere. If not in Montgomery County and Harris County or somewhere else. And it shouldn't have to be. You heard what kind of person Nicole is, and the text, the pictures, put them in the light of basically any television commercial you want to see, a Budweiser, Miller Lite, Shiner Bock, whatever. It shows a lot of people having fun drinking beer. You have a whole bunch of people doing the same thing every single night. And who, outside June 29th, 2012, that a lot of them call to keep them from being in a court like this. Those pictures, those texts don't change a bit of that. They're there strictly to show she's a horrible person, which she already knows. They're to inflame you, so you'll say, well, shoot, we don't even need to stay back there 3 minutes, 20 years, boom, 20 years, boom, 10 years, boom, we're out of here. That's what they're there for. You have to look at the whole picture, and I'm respectfully asking y'all to do this. Not for me, not for anybody but yourself. Because y'all have been chosen to do this job. And that, when you came down here for jury service Monday morning, I'm sure you weren't expecting to be in a position like this. I don't know that anybody ever is. I don't think they put on your jury summons that you're coming for a murder case, involuntary or violent intoxication, manslaughter, or whatever. They don't do that. And it's pretty easy to be carefree and go through the voir dire process and answer all the questions. But I don't know in that stage that there's anything I can ask you if you could consider probation in any of these cases. Because you don't know, and we're not allowed to tell you what the evidence shows. And the evidence you have in this case, I'm not telling you probation is a proper, but I'm not telling you 20 years is proper. I'm not telling you 5 years is proper. That's not my job. It's your job. And I respect that. I have been doing this for 41 years. And I have not yet found one system or heard of any system that's better. My trust is implicitly in the jurors of Montgomery County or Dallas County, where I've started, any county in Texas. Because y'all answered the questions. You didn't know the severity. You didn't know a whole lot of stuff. Now you're faced with that. And you're probably all going to go through some process in your mind. It says, well, I've known just a little bit. I would answer that question different. You have to resolve that to yourself in line with what you told us and swore to the judge to a true verdict render. And in addition, the state has asked Judge Seiler to stack the sentences in each one of these cases. So if you give her, whatever you give her is going to be double what it is.
Judge, that's false, not object to that.
I can't necessarily hear what he said.
He said their sentences are double whatever they get.
You know, that's incorrect. So keep it within what the law says.
What that means is basically, before you can start one, you have to finish one, according to whatever rules TEC has for them. I don't really understand it, but I know if you give her 20, 20, and 10, it's not going to be 50 years. It'll extend beyond that. And that is simply some sort of vengeance. But if you think's proper, that's your decision. And it's real hard to convey I think that's why I asked some of the witnesses about whatever redeeming qualities Nichol had. Because judging from the pictures and the text, she has none. Judging from her friends, she does have some. Judging from the evidence in this case, she does. It may sound trivial, but she'd never been in any trouble before, with the exception of a minor possession in some Class C assault, which is basically pushing somebody, not even hitting them. Not any of those pictures or texts show her anywhere around any vehicles when any of the activities that she's supposedly being engaged in is going on. As opposed to that, who do people call when they're in trouble? Who did Nichol call when she got in trouble? Nobody. The bar, serving the Vegas bombs and everything else, probably still do, even though they've been outlawed some places. Lets her walk out. Bartender service. Bartender sitting there watching her stumble over chairs. Oh, don't bother me. So she doesn't bother to take her keys. I had taken keys from people. If you're a friend, that's what you do. The doorman was supposed to be there. He's supposed to be watching people leave. He wasn't even there. And nobody. And it happens and happens and happens night after night after night. Unfortunately, and I think Nicole and her dad, to put it in perspective, I mean, no matter how long you give her, they're going to get to see her, wherever that may be. And I don't. Nicole Adams and Travis is saying they won't get to see him anymore. That shouldn't be either. And David is seriously injured, and he's going to be different. He doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves it. But it happens. It happens. And Mr. Diaphragm himself said it. Nothing. Nothing can stop it. Your verdict will be in the paper. Some people will see it. Or I'll get drunk tomorrow night. So what? That's not me. A lot of y'all, I remember your question there, probably have kids this age. And you know, when they're this age, they're invincible. They're indestructible. Nothing bad happens to them. Does that make you spoiled? Does that make you bad? You do things you're not proud of, but you do it because you're having fun, because you like to have fun, because you like to do things. Nicole drinks beer. She smokes marijuana. I've got 3 kids. I'm sure one of them didn't. The only one I'm sure of. The others didn't ever tell me, but I don't know about your kids if you have that kind of open thing with them, but you can go right out here not more than 100 yards and buy marijuana right now. Giving Nicole whatever sentence she gets is not going to stop that from happening. Not going to smoke the next kid. Stop the next kid from going out and buying marijuana and smoking it. Not going to stop the young kids from still using their fake IDs and going to Jiffy Stops and buying their beer and carrying on like they're never going to die. Because they don't think that far ahead. They just don't, because their lives are perfect. They've got mom and dad, they've got their friends, everybody's happy. So nothing ever bad can happen. I know I was that way. And I'm pretty sure my kids were that way. I don't know. I spent a lot of time doing coaching youth soccer. I know how a lot of kids feel when they're that age. And it's a shame when things like this happen to make people like Nicole realize, geez, that's not so fun. And I don't want to believe I'm a horrible person, but I am. It's a heavy responsibility. And I'm sure you, Mr. Kyle Pram is going to say the community deserves protection, da-da-da-da-da-da. till this one night in her life, Nichol was respectful of community. This is an accident, horrible, terrible. She knows that. She showed you that. Probably should have not called anybody but her. Because she just probably still can't believe it. I'm going to give you one other thought to consider. Because it's here in 2007, her boyfriend was killed by a drunk driver. And you heard Nichol didn't like his sentence. Every one of these things that you're going to look at happened after that date. And you heard Stephen's mom say how devastated she was about that. It's like after that, so what? So what? I'm going to leave you with this. Like I said, I don't have the ability to go inside your hearts and create anything that's not there. But your verdict is going to be limited to Nichol Adams and Travis and David, their families, and Nichol and her family. Nobody else is going to particularly care. Not going to stop anybody from doing the exact same thing. You may be heroes if you give her the max. To somebody tomorrow reading the paper says, way to go. On the other hand, if you give her anything less than that, somebody, a lot of people will say, that's stupid jury. And what I tell you in Board Hour, they haven't been here, they haven't seen, they haven't heard from Nichol, they haven't been part of this. They haven't lived with it. Y'all lived with it for a week. State's had it for a year and 10 months. I've had it for 6 to 8 months. We've done the best we can. There's nothing else to do. But I would ask you to at least take some time, look in your heart and see if there's some bit of compassion for Nichol, because she's gone through a lot. She has to live with this every night. She'll have to live with it in prison. She'll have to live with it on probation. She'll have to live with it forever. And like she said, she should have been the one that died. And she wouldn't have to remember anything.